And welcome back to Big Apple Hockey for another episode of The Final Buzzer. I am your host for tonight, John Flokowski. As you see there, you can follow me 92 in 82 on Twitter. I'm on there all the time. I rave like a lunatic. I have the little ticker here at the bottom. Doing with the groups, actually, follow me on Twitter. I'm also on the Facebook group posting a bit, facebook.com/group/Big Apple Hockey. And I usually give updates as to when I'm going to do this. This was kind of a last minute thing because I actually had a birthday party to go to for a friend's mother. So I didn't think I was actually going to have enough time to do this. So I figured I would just hop on and do some stuff. Hey, Chris, everybody else that's watching as well. I see you all. But you know what time it is. It's usually what I start off with. So let's get down to business because it's that time again. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah, so it's that time again. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly. We go over the good parts, the bad parts, and the flat-out damn ugly parts of the game. So we'll be talking about a bunch of things, including, I see guys in the chat talking about Igor. We'll be talking about Igor. It's definitely one of the things that we're going to go over. But Breadman dominating with a goal and an assist. I thought his line looked really good. I thought he was just phenomenal. I thought Strome played all right. He scored a goal, but Breadman also got one. I thought he was phenomenal. I just thought he was the best player on the ice. These are the types of games where you want him to take over, and he took over. I mean, there really isn't a whole bunch to say. I like the fact that he shot the puck on the power play there. That was important because that's a different wrinkle that power play has been lacking for a while, is someone other than Mika Zibanejad scoring goals from the Ovechkin spot, if you want to call it that. So Breadman getting the goal from there. Yeah, Jack, I totally agree with you here. He was definitely the best player on the ice. What's going on, Dave? And I see Matt B as well in there. But yeah, Breadman he took over the game. He flat out took over the game. That was the best line on the ice. Breadman was the best player. And like Jack said, not even close. Not a whole lot else to say. I like the fact that he was taking more shots, which is the biggest thing for me. Obviously, as we said before, got a goal out of it. Again, new wrinkle in the power play with him taking that shot there. And what a shot that was. That was a rip and a half. So Breadman if Breadman continues to shoot the puck and play like that, this team's going to be good going forward. So let's see here. Chris, you know what? I'm gonna bookmark this because we're gonna talk about that a little later on. Because I like that. So we'll talk about Dzingel later on. I thought Lafreniere looked solid. I thought he played well. I really liked his game along the boards, down low. I think he did some things that you don't normally see from him that I really liked. So I was a fan of his game tonight. I think that he was more engaged than he usually is. He's been playing a little better lately. I still want more from him, but I liked his game even though he didn't score a point tonight. So I think there were just the little things that he was doing. And I think Gallant's got to be pretty happy with his performance as well because he did a lot of the little things that Gallant would ask him to do. And eventually the goals and the points, they'll start to come if he continues to do these things. So I would like to see him on the power play, though. I think he's earned some sort of power play time other than the 25 seconds they maybe get on the second unit. So, and yeah, Jack, I agree with that. I mean, if nothing else, he looks like he belongs there. So It'll be interesting to see what happens when Kako gets back. I hope that Kako would be put with Strome and Panarin so you can move Goudreau down. So, Thomas, yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit, Thomas. Definitely. We will talk about Igor and his passing. So, moving on from Lafreniere, we will talk about Keandre Miller and how I thought he looked pretty good offensively. I know that his defense still needs work, and he made a few turnovers tonight. But I think carrying the puck, Keandre Miller looked good out there carrying the puck. I mean, he turned the puck over once while doing so. I'm not going to get on him on that, but I think that he looked pretty good handling the puck. So I think the outlet passes still need a lot of work, which is kind of concerning. You want, as a defenseman, you should be able to make simple outlet passes. He kind of lacks in that area a little. It seems like he sometimes has trouble getting the puck through and is prone to trying to force passes into areas that he shouldn't be forcing them into. But I really do think that when it comes to carrying the puck and moving it out of the zone, I really do like when he starts to motor, because he really has some potential there offensively. I do agree with you to a point, Jack. I do think that some of his gaps were a little sloppy, but there were some times where he made some good plays along the walls and stepping up on player, and he wasn't reaching as hard as he usually reaches. So, I mean, that's sometimes those things get ingrained into your head. So if he continues just to reduce it gradually and get rid of it slowly, I mean, maybe he can really, really get away from that. So it was good to see. I thought his defensive play was a little better. I still think it was a little shaky, but not as bad as it's been in recently, because for a while he played so well from like November to like mid-December, and then just his game just really kind of took a dive there. So hopefully he'll get it back. But hey, John, I see you in there, bud. Let's see here. To go on to the next one, and we'll talk about Igor. So let's just give this man the Vezina. Let's just give that man the Vezina. I think that he's elite. He's proven that he's the best goaltender in the game at this very second. And not only that, but he came that close to scoring a goal. Like, I was at that birthday party, and we're all in the living room, and my friend's family was at the dining room table, and they had two young daughters, both 1 2 years old and the other just under 2. And I let out like really loud and startled everybody in there, because I thought that was going in. I was just, oh man. Oh, I thought that was it. I really thought that was it. SMS, I see your comment here about Miller being needing to practice being harder on the puck. I'm going to bookmark that. We're going to talk about that in Q&A. So, and Matt, I totally agree with this one. Low confidence goes a long way. But Igor just so close to the goal, and you're right, Jack. He deserves it so much. He really does. So, yeah. I just got a text from Mark saying, make sure I mention the guy, or making sure that Kreider, or make sure I mention Kreider racing back to break that breakaway up, or to break that partial break-in, if you will, up that Miller basically led to with the turnover. But Chris Kreider was borderline invisible all night, so we're going to talk about that a little later on. Just had to get that one in there, Mark, since you had to nose in with the Kreider talk. And then Schneider I thought Schneider was the best defenseman on the ice. I really did. And I really do think that Schneider was just that good tonight. He had another phenomenal game. I know he's back playing on a third pairing, but I think he even carried Nemeth tonight. And good for Braden Schneider, because Braden Schneider has done everything he can to really propose that, or really to show that he is he's for real. He is for real. Chris T, I just saw your comment about Markstrom, bookmarking that too. We're going to talk about that later. But David, bookmarking this because we're going to talk about that when we talk about Kreider. Jack, yeah, I'm with you on this. Schneider's gaps are almost flawless. They're almost flawless for someone that little. I can't talk tonight, guys. Screw me, right? But Schneider having this little experience, his gaps are so good at this level because his skating is so much better than any of us I thought that he was going to be. So, yeah, Nemeth wasn't a total dumpster fire. I don't think he was good. We'll talk about him. I kind of still put him in the ugly, so sorry, but I just don't think he's good at all. But getting back to the talking points here, Adam Fox needs to be better. I think Adam Fox just was not himself tonight. Another game where, like, I expect more out of him. I didn't think he looked bad, but he just wasn't himself. He needs to be better. And this is just too long where Adam Fox is gone without being the dominant Adam Fox that we know and love. So I want more from Adam Fox. I want more. And he can give more. And I guarantee you that he knows that he can give more and he needs to be better. So I would expect nothing less from a player of Adam Fox's caliber. Barry, I don't think they have to worry about trading Schneider, Barry. I don't think they're going to do it. They were that high on Chris Drury was a part of why they got Braden Schneider. Chris Drury wanted Braden Schneider as well. It wasn't just Chris Morehouse, but Chris Drury wanted Braden Schneider as well. So that is all the good.
That's good.
Now on to the bad. And now bad. Here comes the annual Chris Kreider slump. Because Chris Kreider has just been a ghost as of late. I'm sorry. It needs to change. Actually, you know what? I'm not sorry. Screw it. Anybody who doesn't want to hear it, too bad. Too bad. This is another one of his slumps. And he needs to get out of it now. Next game. It can't wait. He needs to get out of it now. Now I'm going to start to worry as to whether or not he could hit 40. Because he sure as shit ain't hitting 50 playing like this. I could tell you that. So yeah, that's great. You got really hot and you hit 30 goals. You were leading the NHL at one point with 33. And now all of a sudden you take the All-Star break and now you're just not showing up to play again. It's not how it works. You got to show up to play every night. And Chris Kreider hasn't shown up in a while. So he better get his head out of his ass and start playing well again. The slow starts. They've got to stop. I can't say this enough. I'm saying it every damn game. It has to stop. You can't sleepwalk through the first 5-10 minutes of the game, give up a goal, and then come back and win every game. You can't, because you're going to face better teams that are going to shut you down, that are not going to let you score those goals at that point. And even if you get those goals, they're going to still be playing in a mindset where they can have you playing from behind, making mistakes, and giving up too many chances in order to try to win the game or to tie the game. So they'll go and convert at the other end. Another game. No, and you know what, Barry? They didn't sleepwalk tonight. No, it wasn't like Detroit. It wasn't like Boston. but this wasn't a good start. It simply wasn't. You went and you gave up the goal. They had a couple of shifts. I mean, it was really the Panarin line that was really having the shifts from start to finish. Panarin's line was just that good. But the rest of the lines did not play well early on. So, sorry, just a little thirsty there. But not enough goals against a bad team. It's another one. It's too much. You can't continue to not score goals against teams like this. 2 against Detroit, 2 against Ottawa, 2 against Boston. I mean, and listen, Boston's not a bad team, but they're certainly a team that you could have been able to score on, especially without Marchand and Bergeron. So, yeah, David, I think we were all shocked by Strome hitting the open net. So, yeah. And, yeah, neg type, I've never seen you in here before in the chats, so welcome to the show. If it's not your first time, my apologies, but you're right about that. They haven't shown up for years. So, Chris T, yeah, we'll talk about your comment here. I'm going to bookmark another one of yours, Chris, about the 5-on-5 scoring. So we'll talk about that. But yeah, I mean, neg type, you're right, man. You're right. Is that a Dimebag Daryl avatar? I can't really see because my screen's too small. But if that's a Dimebag Daryl avatar, rock on, dude. Because I love Pantera. I assume your name is a typo negative reference, and that's awesome as well. Rest in peace, Peter Steele, as well as Dimebag Daryl. So, and Vinnie Paul for that matter. But anytime, man. I am definitely a big heavy metal fan too. So there's a little music talks here and there. We sprinkle a little bit of it in. Like to keep things fresh. Definitely talk about some other different things too. So. Only got a couple more points in the bad here. So, actually, one more point in the bad, really, but not drawing enough penalties. You not really draw. You got to 2 penalties in one game is just not enough. It's not. And they had a game where they had 0 penalties, and then they had a game where actually 2 games in a row with only 1 penalty, and it's just not enough, man. It's not enough. You know what? The refereeing has been bad in some of these games, but at some point you gotta go and outwork these guys to the point where they start taking penalties. And although I think they played decently well, I think that it's just not enough. You need to force the issue more. And I just don't think that they've been good enough at 5-on-5, which kind of goes hand in hand with bad 5-on-5 play. But I just, I can't with it. Core, I didn't put Miller's defensive play in the bad because I kind of thought it was better than previously, which is the bar still set somewhat low there. But I didn't think he had too many egregious turnovers. I thought he had like 2 maybe in there, but I just, yeah. But Jack, you're right about this. I mean, it's just terrible. You're not getting enough pressure on defenders, and Ottawa's a team that chokes up a lot of scoring chances if you put pressure on their defense. Their defense isn't great at moving the puck out of the zone, minus maybe Shabbat. Brandstrom's okay at it. But who else do they have? Artem Zub? Artem Zub is really not that good. I'm bookmarking another one for you, Chris T, because I actually love that comment that you just put in there about them being a top 10 team. So you guys will all see that when I bring it up in the Q&A time, because we're almost done with everything here. So, and that's really the bad. So we're going to move on from the bad.
Ooh, that's bad.
And I'm going to move on to the flat out ugly as sin. Hunt and McKegg need to sit. I'm sorry, but hey, Diane, I see you in there. Yeah, David, you're right about this. McKegg is the unsweet tea of the NHL. I actually like that better than Vanilla Bean. I'm going to use that from now on. He is the unsweet tea of the NHL. He is just nothing. Just nothing at all. It's bland. It's garbage. It's just, ugh. No thanks. He's terrible. Steven, I'm going to bookmark your comment about the power plays. We'll go over that in a little bit too. But yeah, McKegg needs to sit, and Hunt is just terrible. I'm sorry, he's bad. He's bad. If you want to have him as a third or a 13th forward, rather, okay, fine. I don't mind Hunt as a 13th forward, but don't have him as a top 9 option. And I don't really even want him on the fourth line. I'd rather have Rooney. I'd rather have Reeves in there, and I'd rather have Barron. Give me those 3 on the fourth line. Because, yeah, that line might be a tad slow, but Rooney's really good. I don't agree with this, Lou. I'm sorry. I don't think that Brodzinski is the next Blackwell. I do like Anthony Greco, though. I think Anthony Greco looked good. And Matt B., I agree with you. Time to give Barron a chance. And Barron should be in there over those 2 clowns, Hunt and McKegg. Those guys cannot be in the lineup. I'm sorry. They're just bad. They're both bad players. They don't belong. I said it about Dryden Hunt before the season started. He's not an NHL player. He had a good November, and ever since November ended, he was just horrible. Horrible. He was horrible in October, and he's been horrible outside of November. So it's time to move on from him. I disagree with that, Lou. I think there was we had a 1-game sample size, and I think he looked good in that game. If you want to, yeah, you know what? I get it. Gauthier has kind of pissed people off. He does get on my nerves too, Core, but I don't think he's. Yeah, I do think he kind of like lacks anything, but yeah. I'm gonna bookmark your comment, Core, about Lehkonen. So we'll and Neg Type, have a good night, man. Nice meeting you, if you will, if you want to call it that. But definitely good to have you here. Definitely come back and join us for some more. Rob, you're right. Barron wins faceoffs. Barron should be in there. And this comment kind of says, I don't know why we signed Hunt when the Coyotes didn't even want the guy. Like, what does that tell you when the Coyotes don't want you? Oh, man. So, yeah, and the only other ugly thing is I'm sorry, but I don't think I see people saying Nemeth played decently. I don't think so. I don't think he was good. I'm sorry. I don't think he was good at all. So, I just think that he still can't make outlet passes. The team is still regularly hemmed in their own zone when he's in there. Oh my God. This is great. Hunter Hadzicki. I don't think I've seen you in here before. If you've been in here before and you've been in the chats, I'm sorry, but this is an amazing comment. I'd rather play Pablo Brendel right now over Dryden Hunt. You know what? I actually agree. I'd rather play the fat and out of shape Brendel from 2000's training camp where he showed up 30 pounds overweight than Dryden Hunt. Dryden Hunt is just awful. Oh. And you know what? I said this on Twitter, Jack. I think that there is a good chance that the front office is telling them to play Nemeth. I think that might have something to do with Dolan. I think Dolan might be saying something, and then the front office might be saying it as well. So, but Chris T, you're totally right about this. Nemeth will never be better than Jones. I think Nemeth needs to get out of the lineup again. Sorry, but he's just not good. That's going to end the good, bad, and the ugly. So we will go on to Q&A. And John, yes, you're right about this. I think we need to pay some respects here to the greatest coach in Rangers history. A genuine human being, an incredible human being, a class act, a great coach, an absolute legend, a guy who was an ambassador for the Rangers organization well after his coaching days ended, who just passed away the other day. Emil Cat Francis, rest in peace. Thoughts are with his family and friends and the Rangers community. He will be sorely missed. Another Rangers legend taken from us within this season, and he's reunited with Rod. So his old his protege, if you will. Sad day for Rangers hockey. But Emil Francis, he's the golden standard when it comes to Rangers coaching. You know, we hope that Gerard Gallant can surpass him one day and help this team win a cup. But Emil Francis will always be known as the golden standard of Rangers coaching. That man carried himself with a level of class that could not be obtained by anyone else out there. Everybody talks about Henrik Lundqvist and Brian Leetch and guys and Mark Messier and guys like that being the level of class. They would tell you that Emil Francis had a level of class that maybe John Beliveau could touch. Yeah, that's the type of person that Emil Francis was by all accounts that I've ever heard. And Emil Francis, you will always be known as the coach of the New York Rangers. Just like Mark Messier is the captain, Emil Francis is the coach. If you put together an all-time team, the coach is going to be Emil Francis. And I don't want to hear an argument. I don't want to hear an argument against it because there is none. So, class act, a great man, a great ambassador, a great coach, an absolute legend, Hall of Famer, Emil Francis. God rest your soul. Always a Ranger. Gone, but never forgotten. So, I just wanted to say a few words about Emil, but I mean, we got some Q&A to go over as well now. So, so Chris T writes here, wonder if the Rangers will claim Ryan Dzingel. You know what? That would be a good pickup. I wonder if he actually makes it to the Rangers, to tell you the truth, but I would be a good pickup. And Chris T, yeah, this is actually a good comment here too. I do hope they add another Emil Francis patch. And James, you're definitely right, class act. So, but yeah, I wonder if Dzingel would make it to the Rangers. I doubt it. Doubt that he will. But I would absolutely take Ryan Dzingel for $1.1 million. That's all he costs against the cap. And if he's a waiver pickup, forget about it. He's gotta be taken by the Rangers if that's the case, because there's no reason why you can't take him. There's no reason. So I definitely want to see. Him being claimed by the Rangers. It was Chris Johnson reported that 7 hours ago. So the Rangers should take it because they need a player like that to add to their bottom or middle six. I think he would be a real good fit in there. Plays the kind of game they want him to play. So let's get rid of this. So SMS 7000 writes, Miller needs to practice being harder on the puck. He needs to be more decisive. I couldn't agree more with this. There's nothing wrong with criticizing Keandre Miller for, needing to do certain things. There's nothing wrong with it, or any player for that matter. And SMS, you're totally right about this. He needs to be harder on the puck. He needs to be harder on the players themselves, and he needs to be more decisive. Like, when he gets the puck and he wants to go, he goes. But he needs to be more decisive in the defensive zone. So, David, I disagree with you about Dzingel. I think he's a clear-cut upgrade over what we have in the bottom six right now. Like, that's a guy that could use a change of scenery and would end up being one of the better players in the bottom six. So, going to move on from SMS's comment here. I'm going to go to Chris T again. He says the NHL writers are going to give the Vezina to Markstrom because of his shutouts and service time, but it needs to go to Igor. You know what? I could see that, but I don't think so. I think that Igor's numbers are just too overwhelmingly good. They're too good. His goal saved above expected is ridiculous. It's miles ahead of Markstrom. Miles. So I would hope not. I mean, the screw the Rangers button has been pushed many times before. So, I mean, Lundqvist should have won the Vezina in back-to-back years in 2013, but they somehow gave it to Sergei Bobrovsky. Like, really? But we've seen crazier things, so you could be right. And going to go to David here. David says Kreider looks like he had too much rest. He hasn't been bad, just a step behind. I think he's been invisible. There have been times where he's made some decent plays, but I think he's pretty much been invisible a lot of the time. He needs to get better. That's simply all that it comes down to. He needs to be better than what he's been in these last, I would say, few games since the break ended. So, Chris T. Let's see. Yeah, David, I would agree with this. It's hard not to give someone the Vezina when you lead in every major stat. The only thing he doesn't lead in is shutouts. And shutouts are not necessarily an individual stat. They're a team stat. And Diane, yeah, they kind of just hate giving the awards to the Rangers. It's funny. So, yeah, and Jim Carrey is one of two Washington Capitals goaltenders to break up Dominik Hasek's 8-year string of 8-year string where he should have won the Vezina. So, 2000, Olaf Kolzig was the other Washington Capitals goaltender. And it was only because Hasek was hurt that year. So, I'll give you this, Jack. You're right about this. He looks like he's gone away from it, and I don't know why either. I really don't, because that's not his game. His game is in front of the net. Rob, he looks like he participated in the home run derby. Oh, man. Yeah. Julian, I'm with you. Bring in Jones and bring in Barron. Time to stop seeing Hunt and Nemeth. And McKegg, for that matter. I would take McKegg out of the lineup before I took Hunt out of the lineup, to be honest with you. I think Hunt gives you more. But Chris, you're right about this. Christy, 5-on-5 needs to be addressed at the deadline. 5-on-5 scoring. I think they will address that. And I got another one from you here. The Rangers being a top 10. This was the one I really liked. The Rangers being a top 10 team this year, despite having 4 fringe NHLers in the lineup, is unbelievable. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. This is an excellent comment. It's one of the better comments I think I've ever seen on this channel. Excellent work, Chris T. Great point. Really great point. Going back to the live comments for a second. Lou, yeah, Kreider is still on vacation. Yeah, I'm with you, Core. I would love to see that because I think Barron's skill actually fits better on the third line than it does fourth line. So, yeah, yeah, that was, to me, that was weird. When AV didn't get it, and you know what? I'm not an AV fan, but he should have gotten it considering that Lundqvist was out for a big portion of that year. Big portion of that year. And they did not have a ton of scoring depth. They really didn't. Hey, Jake Hanks. Hey, Davey. Core, I would trade for Lehkonen, depending on the price. Jack is right here to expand on Chris T's comment. It's also a testament of how good they could be if those guys were even 4 average NHLers. You know what, John? This is a great point, John Weber. Kreider's invisibility is partially due to the lack of power play opportunities. You're right. You're totally right about that. And it's funny because the power play opportunities that we have had, Zibanejad, Panarin, there's no Kreider there. So, but I do agree with, I think it was Jack's comment before that stated that he got away from the net a little bit. So, yeah, I do think he needs to be in front of the net a little more. But I do agree with lack of power play opportunity being a problem, which actually goes into the next bookmark comment that I had from Steven. Statboy Steven, always on the money here with these. This team struggling when they aren't getting 3 to 4 power plays a game is the least shocking thing this season. Yes, big time. And that's part of why Chris Kreider's production seems to have gone out the damn window lately. So, yeah. Definitely a great point there, Steven. They need to be better at 5-on-5. It just ties into something I've been saying all year. And I know you've been saying it too. A lot of people have been saying it. So, I mean, we're not really missing anything here. We're right on top of it. The last bookmark comment I had, Core, give me a third line of Lehkonen, Barrett, and Gaudreau post-trade deadline. You know what? That wouldn't be a bad one at all, actually. I think Lehkonen, Barrett, and Gaudreau could actually really they could cause some damage on the third line. Lehkonen could give you a speed, so. Davey, so what will I get from Montreal players on the block? Hoffman, Davey, Hoffman isn't going anywhere right now. They do not want to move Hoffman, and I do not blame them. So, Lundqvist and Kravtsov could be gone, Davey, though. Bailey, Kreider line hasn't had as much as sustained zone time. You're right about that. You're right, Bailey. Definitely right about that. Matt B. Kreider gets pumped up for the next game against Washington, scores 2 goals. I'd be happy with that. David, until they learn to win board battles and hold possession, they will struggle at 5-on-5. David, you are absolutely right there, my friend. Absolutely right. Jack Lehkonen would be an awesome addition to the third line. Yeah, Jack, I agree. I agree with that. Michael Sullivan, Rangers will continue with Nemeth, Hunt, and McKegg on the roster. Yes, they will, and that's the unfortunate part. I totally agree, Michael. They're not going to learn. Steven makes a great point here. Othman is Drury's first draft pick as a GM, first ever. They're not moving Othman. They have plans for Othman. They want him to be in the lineup next year. They will not move Othman. They will not move Othman. They will not move Schneider. Anyone else outside of Lafreniere and Kako? And the obvious guys like Fox, Panarin, Zibanejad, Igor, they're not going to move, Kreider. But yeah, a lot of the younger guys are all on the table. Gene, why is Barron not playing over McKegg? Gallant keeps sticking with players like McKegg and Nemeth over better younger players who can play in the NHL. Gene, you're preaching to the choir, my friend. Preaching to the choir. David says most of the Othman noise has been coming from outside sources. Yes. Yep. That's Saravalli, Dranton, Darawal being fed stuff from Vancouver. There's nothing happening there. Musics. McKegg isn't strong on the puck and he gets thrown around a lot. No, you're absolutely right, Musics. He's not strong. He's an okay skater. He's not good on the puck, and he's not good off the puck. What did he give you? That's why David Wood's unsweetened tea comment about Greg McKegg is probably the most accurate thing I've heard. Better than the vanilla bean one that I said. John Lee, Yarn Croak and Lehkonen would be nice. For bottom 6, Kessel or Kopp, I still don't see Kopp being moved. I think they would move Scheifele before they move Kopp, John. I really do. Jack, to this team's credit, the zone entries have greatly improved, which is partially responsible for the increase in shots. Yeah, the zone entries have gotten better, but the sustained offense still needs to be there. So, Musics, what are they going to do with Kravtsov? I would hope he would come over and play for a little bit. We don't know as of right now. Gene, Othman, Garand, Coley, and Schneider are the next young core for this team. Yeah, they're going to be part of it, Gene. They will. Core, even with Laffy playing well, they need a play driver in the top line. You're again another comment that's preaching to the choir. I've said this for a long time. I've said that about the top two lines, actually, that they both need another guy who could help drive play. Not to be the play driver, but someone who can help drive the play. So at least a competent winger on those two lines. Lafreniere is playing a little better. Well, I would like to see Kako back with Strome and Panarin and move everybody else down. So, David, I think Coley and Othman are on the untouchable list since they've been so good since. Yeah, David, I would agree. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think they would move Coley either. I think Will Coley is going to stay. I think they really like him in the season he's having for Windsor. So, Bailey, I hate Nemeth just as much as anyone, but he was better than he normally was. Still awful, but not as awful. That's my stance. He's still not good. He's still not good. Was he better than me wanting to punch several holes in my wall? Yeah, sure. But his gap control still isn't good. His outlet passing is still not good. He still can't make simple outlet passes. He still can't hold on to the puck for those extra 2 to 3 seconds that he might need to make that pass if there's a forechecker. And anytime there's enough pressure, he dumps the puck out because he can't do anything else with it. So I think Nemeth has a point. I just saw that stat. I think he might have 1 or 2. He has 2, and he's a minus 12. So, Gene, I would love Jared McCann. I don't think Seattle moves him at this point. Or otherwise, it's going to take a ton to get him. Steven, the biggest complaint that you have with Lafreniere is that he isn't creating his own offense. Yeah, I agree. We expected this guy to be able to come in and create his own offense, and he just hasn't. And that's not good. So, Core, I do agree that Cooley could be a good middle six forward going forward. Like, I think he could be a Tom Wilson type player. I think he could be like that. Davey, I don't think Cole Caulfield is going anywhere. I really don't. Chris T, yeah, I agree with you. I think Jared McCann's probably staying in Seattle. I don't think they move him. Gene, Brady, Kachuk, undressed, guessing undressed Nemeth, yeah, in the first period. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get why Schneider, I don't get why Nemeth has to be in that damn lineup. So, Musics, Nemeth has zero confidence. He always decides to get into a board battle that he ends up losing about 100% of the time. This is accurate. It's accurate. I can't disagree with any of this. He doesn't win board battles because he's not fast enough. He's not strong enough on his edges. So guys who can make quick pivots can absolutely leave him in the dust. Rangers Reddit, Christie Rangers Reddit defends Lafreniere to death, but he hasn't played up. You know what? Here's the thing, guys. Lafreniere has been disappointing. You can acknowledge that while also knowing that he is not a bust. This is not hard. It's nuance. And I'm not saying this about anybody here in this chat because none of you guys are saying it. I just see it all over social media. Oh, well, you can't criticize Lafreniere. He's the savior of the franchise. He went number 1 overall. It's every excuse rolled out in the book for him. And then there's the other side where, you know, if you're babying him too much, and and if you say anything, it's just ah, there's got to be a medium. There's got to be a middle ground, and the middle ground is the fact that he needs to be better, but he's also young and producing somewhat well for a 20-year-old forward that's not getting any power play time. And he's finally starting to assimilate. His strength and his speed both need to be better. His confidence would be there if the coach would utilize him just a little better. So, hey, Jason, I see you in there. Alvalanker, yeah, I thought this game he skated hard. I thought he played well along the boards and down low. I think that he made a couple of even good defensive plays. So, yes, the offense isn't there, and I want more from him. But, I mean, if he keeps playing like that, sometimes some things will come to you. So, Bailey, yeah, Caulfield isn't going anywhere. You're right. David, it would be funny if it wasn't said, but the times that Nemeth gets the puck and then waits for a defending, yeah, he just can't move the puck. You could time his movements with a sundial. Like, are you kidding me? Yeah, John, he is 20 years old, but you know what? I would like to see more consistency. I'd like to see more consistent effort. I like the effort he gave tonight, but he doesn't always give you that. Just look at the jump. Jack, fine. Fair. It helps, but I still think he could give you more. And David, Laff has many goals as Stutzel with 0 power play time. He has 20 less points with an absurd lack of ice time for his career. You're right about that. You're right. I believe Cooley can play the right side core. I believe he can. I know Offman can. Chris T can't give up on a player until he reaches his prime. I think you give up on them by 23. If you're not seeing anything by 23, 24, I think it's time for a change of scenery at that point. Michael, I don't care about what Tony does. Unless he's killing the Rangers, I don't care about Tony. Legitness, welcome to the channel. I don't think I've seen you here before, but if you have, my apologies. You're asking me if the offense has gone dry since Kakko's wrist injury. No, I think it's just a combination of things. I just think there's some slow starts and they haven't looked good since the All-Star break. So, excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. I've had a long day. Played 6 hours of hockey. Been up since about 7 o'clock and 7:30 in the morning, I would say. So, Laff is not incredible, but he's young as hell. Jack, this is Jack saying this. Laff has not been incredible, but he's also young and has limited numbers until recently in terms of ice time. He's played with some terrible talent in the bottom six. Yeah, I agree with these, Jack. There is a gray area. There are some things that have worked against him, but he can give you more of an effort. And Chris T, your comment kind of ties into this. Patience is a virtue. It really is. So we got to be patient. Andy, same goes for Kakko. Him and Laff hasn't met top 3 expectations, but they're super young as fans. We forget that. Yes, definitely right. Okay, so Steven's going to correct me here. Cooley is exclusively a left wing. Berard and Offman can play on the right. Mackenzie Kim, don't think I've seen you in here either. But if you've been in here before, my apologies. Not having Blade for the playoffs hurts. Yeah, I definitely agree with this. I think Blade would help in the playoffs. You want someone that can play that heavy physical game that can give you some skill and some speed. Blade gives you that. Or just commenting, Steve. Chris T, I had someone argue that Laff deserves to get top 6 minutes. Carter shouldn't be moved from left wing. Yeah, I don't. There's got to be a way to get it done. I would rather see Lafreniere play right than play in the bottom 6. So, if you compare David, if you compare Laff's 5-on-5 numbers to other first overall forwards, they are comparable while having an average of less than or 5 minutes less of ice time. Yeah, so that's the thing. So, Davey, will Montreal or Edmonton overpay for a goalie? Maybe you could try a better package. I assume you're talking about maybe moving Georgiev here. I don't know, Davey. I'm not really sure. I think Edmonton has to do a lot. Musics. It's a little concerning with Laffy and Kako, but they should be okay. I do agree. John, yeah, I'm with you on this, John Lee. Heedle's pretty much. I'm done with Heedle. I'm sorry, but I just don't see it anymore. I don't see it. If he turns into an Artemi Panarin somewhere, okay, have fun. It's whatever at this point. Nick, what's going on, bro? Jack, do I think Drury should make a move with Kako's injury or wait for the deadline? I would rather be proactive, to tell you the truth, Jack. I would rather them make a move sooner than later. So, Steven says his problem with Lafreniere isn't the production. It's there, which the goals were a little more exciting. Stutzla goes out and creates offense for himself, basically. Yeah, I agree, Steven. I do agree. I think that Lafreniere needs to be able to do a little more of that. I think that once he really improves his skating, because his skating really hasn't improved. Once he improves his skating and his strength, I think the confidence will come up, and that'll be it. And yeah, we do watch hockey to get entertained, but a guy can't be doing what he did in juniors and then turn into a guy that's getting goals on tap-ins. And Chris T, yeah, you're right. So. All right. David says that we can't continue to score 2 goals a game for the next month, so we need to try to make a trade sooner than later. I'm with you, David. I'm with you. Rather see the move sooner than later. Musics, can't wait for the Georgiev saga to be over. Wonder who's the next backup. So, I'm with you there. Wouldn't mind Grice. Steven, yeah, have a good night, bud. I'm surprised you're still up. It's late for you. McKenzie, Rangers power plays explosive with Brett on the right, Mika firing one-timers on the left. Need to add some bottom 6 scorers. Not trade for someone like Miller giving up too much. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on all that, McKenzie. All that. I mean, I really think you mapped out the rest of the season kind of perfectly there. So, good post. Very good post, actually. Dave, I should say. I don't know why I called you David. We have another David in here, so I'm going to call you Dave. And I will call David Wood David, because that differentiate the two of you. In your opinion, or in my opinion, what's the more compelling and exciting division race, the Metro or the Pacific? That is a really good question. I would probably say the Pacific because I have so much anxiety with the Metro race, but that probably tells you that it's a really good one as well. So they're both pretty much right there with each other. I don't know if I could really pick. I think the one that would be more exciting to me just because I don't have a dog in the fight and I can actually just sit back and enjoy it is probably the Pacific. Because the Rangers give me anxiety and panic attacks. So, Nick asks, if I think Gallant is having us play a little too passive? No, I don't think it's Gallant, Nick. I think it's just the players themselves. So a lot of these guys, as we've seen in the past, have the tendencies to overthink plays and overpass the puck instead of shooting. And that's really not Gallant's fault. It was that way under Quinn, so it's not Gallant. Chris T asks if the Rangers take the page out of Calgary's trade book and make the trade or pull a Jim Rutherford special, basically. So I would like to see that, but it depends on what the prices are and who's really available right now. Yeah, Nick, I don't think it's Gallant. I just think it's the players. I mean, if you look back at what happened under Quinn, they passed up a lot of shots and tried to pass the puck in the net too. So, have a good night, Steven, if you're still in here. I saw your comment. Teams in the Metro are more talented. Yeah, I will give you that, but I mean, it's fun to watch those games without having stake in it, you know? Yeah, and that's the thing, Nick. It's a player tendency, and I mean, even in my own playing experience, Nick, I tend to be too passive at times. Like there are shots that I could take, and I don't fucking take them, and I just end up making passes, and sometimes it leads to great plays and goals, but other times I end up saying to myself, "What the hell am I doing afterwards?" You know, so. And yeah, being too cute with the puck is a problem. You're right, Nick. Mackenzie says, although the Rangers haven't scored too many goals 5-on-5, we're third in the league in terms of how many goals we give up. Big part of that due to Igor, but still so much structure. Yes, and yes. The 5-on-5 scoring is a major problem. It's a major problem. And we've been saying it for a while. Igor has masked some deficiencies, but there is more structure, and we do have more defensively responsible players. So, and physical too. So all that can be true. Nuance allows us to understand all this. So, Davey, you want us to make a move, but you're concerned that we will overpay for JT Miller. I don't think they're going to bring JT Miller back. I just, knowing how he left, I don't think they bring back JT Miller. He was a problem in the locker room. He was going, and supposedly I heard, he went and got drunk the night before an afternoon day game and showed up kind of hungover. If that's the case, and that is true, two of the players in the leadership group were here when he was around previously. And I don't think they're going to like that. So, I know he's matured since then, but I doubt it. Andy says, obviously, teams like Carolina, Florida, Vegas, and Colorado will be favorites, but what teams do I see as sleepers? Andy, I will say, a sleeper team to look out for will probably be Tampa, even though they're the defending champions, because that team could put it together and go on a run. They could go on a run. So I think that's the case. I think that a real sleeper team could end up being someone like Dallas. I don't think they're going to win necessarily, but I think Dallas, if they put everything together and made the right moves, I think they can make a run. Because I think their goaltending is strong. I think their system is strong. And I think Sagan and Ben still have yet to play their best hockey. So, Chris, were you the only one that wouldn't mind keeping Georgiev because of Shesterkin's Igor's injury history? I just don't see. I don't see why you keep Georgiev at this point. He obviously wants to be a starter. He's obviously not happy being a backup and not playing. Just trade him and get what you could get for him. So, Gene says that he thinks Drury will obtain Garland rather than Miller. I could see that. I could. They would rather make the move for Garland than for Miller because Garland has turned. He could play both sides. He would be an awesome fit here. Core, I like Saros. I just don't like the rest of Nashville. Their defense is good. I just don't think their offense is enough. Calgary is definitely a sleeper. Core, definitely agree with that. Nick asks if there's any possibility of Claude Giroux coming to the Rangers. I would say it's 0.0000001%, Nick. I don't think the last time Philadelphia and the Rangers made a trade, it was for Eric Lindros. And there were extenuating circumstances around that trade. So, I want Pavelski too, Matt B. I absolutely want Pavelski. So, couldn't agree more with that. Guys, I'm going to do about 5 more minutes. I've had a long, long day. I am extremely tired, and that's why I wanted to breeze through the good, bad, and ugly part. So this way you can get to a lot of the comments. I'm tired. I'm running on fumes right now. I played about 6 hours of hockey to start the day between 2 different places, and my body is just like broken right now. And I've lost my energy. So I'm going to do about 5 more minutes. So get your questions in, comments in. We almost did have Zygmunt Palffy. Bettman actually vetoed that deal because of the fact that it involved cable television rights in 1999. So, Nick, is there a chance of Pavelski? It depends on what Dallas does, Nick. If they drop out of the race, then yes. If they're close, they probably won't move him. Excuse me. Dave asks who was traded for Lindros. It was Pavel Brendel, Jan Hlavich, Kim Janssen, and a 3rd-round pick. That was the same package that was offered to Washington for Pittsburgh for Jaromir Jagr, but they turned around and sent him to Washington because Craig Patrick had a vendetta against the Rangers after they fired him years prior. So, Garland would be great. Totally agree. I think Garland would be awesome here. David, I might. Davey, I play defense and wing. I played at a couple different spots, including pickup for about like 4 hours, but our pickup games are more intense than any league that you could play in. So it's ridiculous. That was a hell of a skate. I got tripped probably about 10 times just making moves on people. And I got bodied a few times too and got knocked down here and there. So my body is just shot. Curtis Sanford, you mean? Yeah, Gene, Curtis Sanford would be nice. I don't know if they move him, though, but he would be a good fit in the bottom 6. Yeah, Mackenzie, I don't think that's going to happen. Chris T, trade deadline should be a holiday, but that would never happen here. In Canada, it's practically a holiday. No, there's no referees there. One's a rental, David, and the other is just pickup hockey at a public rink. But the way that we play, the skill level is pretty high, and the intensity in those games is just nuts at times. Today was one of those days where the skill level got really, really high, and the intensity went through the roof. So, yeah. Yeah, good thing you didn't come to play it today because, yeah, it was really physical today. This was one of the more physical games we've had in quite some time. Yeah, Corey, you know what? This is actually a good comment, a really good one. I don't know why they didn't move the deadline back either. It doesn't make sense for them to not move the deadline back at this point because I guess it gives teams more time to make trades, but I mean, at the same time, it's like, why would you not want to, I don't know. I don't get it. Mackenzie asks, what would I want to do with Strome in the offseason? If I could get Strome for $6 million or less, okay. Anything more than I would say 6 to 5 maybe. And I'm passing. I'm not going to $7 million for Strome. He's just not worth that. Yeah, I agree, Core. It is dumb that they have the rentals for only 20 games or so in the regular season. I think they should have to make the trades a little earlier. So, but it is 10:35. I am going to wrap things up. Thank you all for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Again, high viewer count tonight. We had over like 35 people and viewing at one point. It's really good. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys coming on with me. I decided to do this last minute because of the fact that, like I said, I had the birthday party to go to, and I didn't know what time I was getting out of there. So I wanted to get on here and do this, but I am absolutely exhausted. I'm actually going to go lay down and go to sleep probably. So I might just lay down in bed and see when I fall asleep, but my body is shot. So definitely join us for our weekly show. It'll probably be sometime next weekend. Yeah, so I will definitely be we'll definitely be doing another weekly show probably next weekend. Depending on what happens Thursday, I will definitely be trying to do some of these afterwards. So if, like I said, check the group on Facebook and follow that, because that'll give you more of an insight on to when I would do it. I try to put it on there, but this was very, very last minute. It was literally like a snap decision for me to do it. So thank you all very much for joining me. You all have a good night, and let's go Rangers.